My 9/11 story was a blessing because my older daughter um, had gotten married that uh, that weekend, and I was in charge of returning some of the bridal stuff back that was rented. And what happened is that day of 9/11, I worked in Newark at the Newark Legal Center. So I witnessed a plane crashing into the building from my office window in Newark. I was supposed to have been in uh, in New York at that time, but because of the chores I had to do returning my daughter's rental stuff, I didn't go. I was calling the attorney that morning to let him know that I will not be coming to New York for my 9 o'clock meeting. Normally, if I had gone to that meeting, I would have been coming up the escalator, the path escalator into the World Trade Center around that exact time, quarter to 9, I believe that it happened, and I would have been caught up in all of that. But I thank God that I didn't get to go because it would have been just a horrific experience for me. But in anyhow, I did witness the plane coming, the first plane hitting the tower. A friend of mine called me and said there was a plane that just hit the World Trade Center, and I'm thinking it was one of these little tiny, crop plane or plane that they use to spray pesticide on the in the farm or the field, or just a private little plane. And so she said, "Look out the window." And I looked out the window, and sure enough, it was a large plane. Half of it was in the building, and half was hanging out. And I watched the other plane do a circle around the building and came smashing right into the building, going like 100, 200 miles an hour, aim right for the building. It was frightening. I thought at first I was in a Twilight movie, or it was a dream. I couldn't imagine that somebody was actually crashing into the World Trade Center. And at that point, everything sort of stood still for us over in my office. People were screaming, some people were crying, and we watched the building collapse. The building came down just like a domino effect. It just, and it's all within minutes. It seems like the building was had collapsed down to the ground, and I know it took longer than that, but that's what it seems like. And for the rest of that day, we were all in disarray. Didn't know what to do, where to go, or 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 who to call, or what. But my manager, or my chief, decided that we should all just go home and wait to hear wait to hear from them as to what is the next step we have to do. The explosion that happened in the basement of One World Trade Center. Um, I was actually in the building that day when that explosion happened, and we heard, this loud thumping sound. So we thought that it was just some people working, doing dredging work in the Hudson River, and we thought it was just, we were going to just leave the building for a short period of time for a fire drill. So I was preparing my monthly report, and I just said, well, we'll go out. I'm saying this, thinking this to myself, which happened. I'm going to go out for lunch, and and if it's a fire drill, I'm going to just go out for lunch, and then I'll come back. But I took all of my personal belongings then, meaning my purse and my jacket, everything, and left. And when by the time I walked down 62 flights of stairs, and I didn't. Now the light in the stairwell are dim or getting darker. We didn't realize that it was an explosion. So I walked down those 62 flights of steps, and not in fear, but hurriedly walked down the stairs. I didn't know, but when I got down to the bottom, saw all the chandelier glass and blood and people's clothing and shoes and stuff on the ground in the lobby. I went out. I had gotten so much smoke. I didn't realize that my face was soot was black all over my face. And my one of my colleagues, he had wrapped his tie around his nose, so the only part of his face was clear was where he had his tie wrapped around, but the rest of his face was completely blackened. And I remember getting out on the west side, not knowing. I was like lost. I didn't know where to go. So I did manage to get on the subway and got to the bus terminal at 42nd Street. And I took a bus from there and, and came home. I was told, I don't know if I could tell you guys on this recording now, but it was very frightening. Like the attorney that I was calling to tell him that I wouldn't be at the meeting, he was trapped in the elevator, so he died in the elevator. And some of my um, friends who survived said that when the elevator opened on the 44th floor, that's halfway, one of the halfway margin where the elevator opened up, that the elevator opened up into fire. It was all fire there. And they had a choice of either staying in the elevator and burn up, or get out of the elevator and jump, into the fire and then beyond it, and possibly walk down the staircase before the building collapsed. And that's what they did. And those individuals survived. Our executive director was on the restaurant, which was the top of the building, Windows on the World, I think it was called. And he did not make it. Anybody that was above, they said the halfway mark, meaning maybe about the 55th floor um, above, did not make it. And I am just like grateful that I didn't have any close relative that died in that 9/11 um, incident that happened. But I did have a lot of coworkers who were very close friends that didn't make it. And but uh, we all still reliving and remembering 9/11. That's my story.